intelligence use continues to bring new opportunities for just about any workforce. It comes as many people are still trying to learn the technology. Jack is sitting down asking questions with a local business leader who is helping with training.
Thanks, Brooke. Joining me now is the CEO and Chief Data Scientist at Xedios, Dr. Ayanu Odabo. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
All right, pretty
Hey,
good.
Jack,
Well, thanks for joining. I made it through. Well, how can artificial intelligence be used to empower communities?
Yeah, I believe very strongly that we would start seeing more use of artificial intelligence in schools, helping our students to use personalized learning and adaptive learning to get ahead of their grades and to get ahead of their math, their English, their computer science. I believe we will start seeing more of that in the coming months and in coming years, I believe.
What projects are you working on now, and how will they train future generations with artificial intelligence?
So we observe that there is going to be a gap in learning as artificial intelligence begins to gain ground. And as a matter of fact, LinkedIn's survey showed that there would be 97 million new jobs created. And so we'd have that gap. And so there's a need to train the next generation and next workforce. And so what we're doing is we're using AI agents to prepare people for this shift and doing it in a very responsible way. That's what we're doing.
You know, for a lot of us, it feels like AI just happened overnight. Just one day we woke up and AI's on our phones and everywhere we look. But it's been around a lot longer, and building toward the future, it's going to make a huge impact.
Yes, you know, I started with my master's in bioinformatics and then advanced to my PhD in information systems. And we used to call artificial intelligence things like data mining and things of that nature. That's really evolved over time, and everybody calls artificial intelligence ChatGPT now, but it's way more than that, and the opportunities that it will create, I think that if we use it responsibly, there's just new opportunities that will be coming our way.
Now, recently you took part in a data science boot camp for orphans in Africa. How can events such as this create new opportunities for those students looking to reach those goals?
Yeah, it was, you know, the best gift of mine to be able to share our gifts with people that have lost their parents. And this really drives really way home for me as a person. And I think that the more we empower the next generation to build tools and equip them, I think AI has created an opportunity to do that actually very quickly, because I would have had to travel down to Africa. I didn't have to do that because we had AI agents that was helping guide them and teach them. And to see the response that came out of that and the opportunities that are beginning to show up for those kids is just super amazing.
Well, finally, where can our viewers learn more about your projects?
Yeah, so you could go to Xedios.com, and you could also reach out to me on LinkedIn, and you know, we could have conversations about how to build AI systems and create the next generation AI workforce.
All right, sounds good. Ayanu Odabo, thank you so much. The
Thanks,
CEO
Jack.
and Chief Data Scientist at Xedios. Have yourself a fantastic afternoon, and
Thanks,
come back
Jack.
and see us.
Yeah, thanks, Jack, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank
Take
you.
care.
Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so you are all welcome to today's training. Today we are learning about agentic AI, and then this is a collaborative training initiative between Data Science Nigeria and Wokkah. We are excited to have you here, and then you know that at Data Science Nigeria, our mission is not only to build Africa's AI talent ecosystem, but also to ensure that our community members can convert knowledge into wealth. No, we believe in empowering you, our community members, to earn while still in school, improve your personal well-being, and contribute meaningfully to your community. Today's training, why it is important, is that is one of the way, one of the many ways to bring that vision to life. Through our partnership with Wokkah, you are going to gain access to world-class knowledge and expert project guidance. And that is a case study of what we are having today. And experts are going to be guiding you through projects. Experts from all over the globe are going to be guiding you through projects. It's going to be your portfolio, and it's a unique opportunity for you to gain practical skills that can help you deliver real value and get rewarded for it. So I want to encourage you. We want to encourage everyone, to stay attentive, actively participate, and make the most of this session. The knowledge you gain here has the power to open doors and transform your journey. So I want to say welcome again to this session, and thank you for being part of this exciting opportunity. So I'm Tejumala from Data Science Nigeria, and then I would like to hand over to the CEO of Wokkah, that's Dr. Iyanoluwa Odebode, as he just takes the welcome speech. Okay, so over to you, Dr. Iyanoluwa.
Tejumala, thank you so much for the welcome speech. I'm going to take a moment to bring in Dr. Iyanu now. Just give me a few seconds to do just that.
Okay. So as you join, please drop your name and where you are joining from, in the chat room, community. Please just drop in the chat room so that you can be sure that you are well represented. So your name and where you are joining from the chat room is very, very important. Thank you.
Hello. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Fantastic. So thank you all so much for joining. Incredible opportunity everybody has here to be able to take advantage of, sort of where this whole thing is going, right? And to build a future that is sustainable and amazing for yourself. We're really grateful to have you on. I'll turn on my camera so everybody can see me. I want to thank you for joining. I want to thank you for participating in this. And we're super excited that you're able to join this. And we believe that this is going to be a significant opportunity for you to grow your skills, grow your talents, invest in, in your experience in the AI space, and actually come and do really amazing things, not just in Nigeria, but across the world. And so we're excited. We're super stoked. One, that we get to also do this with DSN, right? Which is so exciting. We have our instructor who is here. Rahul is going to be walking us through, some of the things that we'll be going through. I want to encourage everyone to ask questions. If we might not be able to take all questions during this call, but ask questions on the chat. I might have some some office hour sessions, where we just get to have people ask questions. So if your question doesn't get answered on this call, be sure that it will get answered at some point, okay? Because we have a large amounts of people on, so we might not necessarily be able to take all questions, but you best be sure that we'll get to your questions, and so we're going to have office hours and things of that nature. The goal is to do the walkathon. Now, let me tell you something. This is not a handout, okay? This is an opportunity for you to put in a lot of work, and if you're able to put in a lot of work, see the result of the work. So this is not going to be a handout. I want to encourage everyone to work really hard, make the best use of the training period, take notes where necessary, and once you're done, practice. And when you practice, share.
share what you've practiced, put it, on the chat so that we can actually follow through with it. So thanks again, everyone. Looking forward to working with you guys and looking forward to what we're able to do, both Wokkah and DSN. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Yana. Thank you so much. So it's time for us to invite Rahul up now to start the training proper. Rahul, you please share your screen as you take it further.
Sure. So first of all, can you guys hear me? Everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sure. Sure, let me do one thing. So first of all, okay, hi, my name is Rahul Jha, and so what I want to do is I want to quickly share my screen and get started with the session. So let me know if everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Okay, sure. So before getting started with anything, I would like to first of all set up the entire agenda for the for about 50 minutes to 1 hour session that we will be having, and then based on that agenda, we will be starting with the actual content of the video, content of the session. So this mind map is something that I have created which will help me to navigate through this entire session in a easy manner, so that we can effectively go through this entire session step by step. Okay, let me go through some of the points one by one. I was asking just before this session if there is some way with which we can create surveys in Zoom, but it turned out I couldn't quite figure out if we can create a survey. But what I'll do is I can see the chat. What I want to do is I want to quickly know some rough idea of the demographics that we have here. So we have close to 117 people now, and it is increasing and it is fluctuating. So I want to understand basically two things. Among this audience, how many of you have written any Python? Just comment if you know Python, any, like even one line of Python if you have written. I want to understand if so, because it will kind of okay. So I'm seeing some answers. All right. So okay. So we can clearly see that there are a lot of people, and in fact I would say there are some answers which says that none, or maybe they haven't written any Python. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so most of I would say if I have to infer from this chat answers, then I would say about 80% of the people know Python and coding, and rest of the 20% do not know. Now, after asking this, I would like to open these points to remember while I'm going through the content of this session. While going through the topics, I will introduce too many new terms for you. If you have not, if you don't know anything about agent, this might there would be many terms which would be very new to you. So don't worry about it. At this point, what I want you all to do is to get a high level understanding of these concepts and points, and only go into the depth as and when you require something. Because now, with the rise of AI, with the rise of LLMs, you have tools like ChatGPT and Gemini which can help you understanding anything, right? So what you can do is you can get a high level understanding, and then after that you only dig deeper when it is necessary, because there are so many things to know. Okay, avoid going deep at this point. All right, try to understand the agentic overflow at a very high level manner. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, try to understand the core concept at beginner stage, and this is very important, and this should help those people who don't know how to code. So in the survey, whoever answered that I don't know how to code, this point should help you, that code writing has become easy. That is something you should not worry about. Although high level thinking is something that has become more difficult with the rise of AI, because everyone is so dependent on AI. Nobody is thinking about going into the high level thinking, okay, and connecting various pieces. That is something which you should be worrying about. Okay, so I'll not go over these points to remember anymore. So just two more points. Won't be writing down any code during this session. I have already created a script which I will be going through with you all step by step. All right, last but not the least, don't focus on jargons. There will be new terms which you might immediately say that I don't know this, or maybe this is too scary. But don't worry about that. Trust me, it will become easier as you go ahead in this session and as you go ahead in your career. Let me now spend 1 or 2 minutes talking about the entire organization of this lecture. So I would like to spend about 10 to 15 minutes on covering theory, which I have prepared using this mind map. And rest of the time, I will be spending on CrewAI actual demo. When I say demo, I'll be running one marketing agent that I have prepared, marketing analyst, you can say that. And then after that, uh, we will be going through the code and underlying design and architecture of that agent. And finally, we will taking some of the questions that you guys might have. Okay. So at this point, I would like to basically understand from you guys that if you have any questions at this point, or I think we should be taking it should be advisable to take questions maybe at the last, because I think initially there will be a lot of theory and then there will be a lot of demos. But I think at this point, yes, call is recorded. You will be getting the recordings when the session is over. And okay, so let me now focus on the theory part. Okay, let's get started with theory, and let me drag this outward so that we are not distracted. Okay, so if I talk about the entire topic of AI agents and workflow, I have divided it into these four sections, and you will be getting access to this mind map. So no need to write down every detail, just write down some key points and high level markers and high level thinking that you might have to do on your own. You can write those down. Try to understand those stuffs which are written here rather than worrying about writing down each and everything. Okay, so I've divided this whole thing in this four sections. The first two sections is entirely theory, no practical is there. And these two sections are related to a framework called CrewAI. Um, so CrewAI is spelled as CRUAI. So CrewAI, we will talk about what CrewAI is, but it is kind of a framework, just to give you a short detail, which allow us to create agents. Enough detail for CrewAI at this point. We will be covering CrewAI in much more detail later. So I would like to start talking about this overview first. So first of all, what are AI agents and how do they differ from workflows? After every section, I call these sections, and we have four sections. After every section, I will so before first of all, before every section, I will pose a question that after completing this section, you should be able to answer this. For the first section, you should be able to answer what is the difference between AI agent and workflow. So after completing this section, you should be having answer to the difference between AI agent and workflow. Let's cover the definitions first. Okay, what are workflows? You all must have used ChatGPT, right? In ChatGPT, you go to ChatGPT, you type out some questions and you get answers. Now, similar to this, we create applications in Python using ChatGPT API. Now, ChatGPT is just one of the LLMs. There are other LLMs as well, like Gemini or Anthropic or Claude. Now, recently, Elon Musk introduced Grok AI. So those are LLMs, right? Now, using those LLMs, we can create Python applications which interact with those LLMs. Now, one such application could be a resume parsing. Resume parsing, in resume parsing, what we can do is we can pass a resume to the LLM, and we can ask from LLM for a summarized introduction, summarized overview of the resume, summarized overview of the CV. Now, this kind of application that I've just described will come under the purview of workflow. Okay, so workflow is essentially where we are using LLMs for a predefined and for predefined, predictable, and consistent code paths. I take the LLM, I use that LLM to complete one task. That's it, nothing else. I hope it makes sense. Workflows are used to use LLMs for a predefined for predefined code paths for predictability and consistency. Okay. Now, how do they differ from agents? Now, agents are something very interesting. Now, what do agents allow us to do? In agents, LLMs are called dynamically. What do I mean by dynamic? The name itself is quite clear, right? Dynamic means they are called in a you can say LLMs decide when to call them. We don't decide it. So in this manner, they work in an autonomous manner. Okay. So systems where LLMs dynamically direct their own process. And this is where agents become really powerful. And that is tool uses. What exactly is tool? We will cover that in later part of this video. But just to give you a basic idea of what tool is any external capability that we connect our LLM to. For example, I might have a tool for web searching. I can give this tool to my agent, and then agent can go ahead and search the website and just like work just like Google. Okay. Another kind of tool we can have for, let's say, connecting with our databases, where we might have an agent for maybe accessing customer information and taking some sort of action. Maybe restaurant example, where somebody is on a call with a AI agent and they want to book the reservation. In that case, the customer is going to tell them their phone number and their customer details, and then agent is going to fetch those details from the database, and database is basically different from LLMs. Okay. So again, I'm talking about so many, you know, jargons here. So you don't have to worry about, because this is what I have discussed in the introduction of this session, that there would be a lot of jargons, and those jargons will become clear as you make your feet wet. And when I say make your feet wet, what I mean is when you actually enter in this field, you will get to know these kind of stuff deeply. Right now, just a high level intro will suffice. I hope tool uses make sense. Now, this is about definition. And again, at this point, after completing this section, I think you should have an understanding of difference between AI agent and the workflow. And you can answer this question right now as well. Workflow is something defined as predefined code paths, whereas AI agent is something where autonomous actions are taken by agent itself. No human intervention is needed. Even in workflow, no human intervention is needed. But in workflow, there is this thing called predictability. Okay, there are some recommendation. You can read those recommendation, but I'll quickly cover these at a very high level. It talks about starting with simplest solution. Okay, it talks about starting with simplest solution. And what we mean by this is that there can be many circumstances where where agents might not be required. In those scenarios, you can just do good with workflows. You don't need to create AI agents. That is what is being conveyed here. In the second point, it is talking about something known as prompt engineering. We can talk, that's a vast topic and different topic, but here it is talking about optimizing single LLM calls with retrieval. And when I say retrieval, see, retrieval is a very fancy term. Here I would like to write something known as tool usage, which we just described, right? So retrieval is basically, what it is doing is fetching something from database, right? And again, when I say fetching from database, I have simplified it a lot. So it's not that simple, but at this point, it will suffice. Okay, it will be okay. I think I have talked a lot. Ibukun, do you think it would be the right time to take questions, or maybe I should go ahead and cover all those things before, and then we can take questions all at once?
Yeah, so I think you should go ahead, right? Once you're done, we can take more questions.
At last.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, okay, sure. Okay. Now, now in the advanced concepts, again, when you have this mind map, you can read on this this whenever you whenever you get a chance to. But I will cover it in a very high level, that this particular subsection covers the difference between AI assistant and AI agent. Now, the difference between AI assistant and AI agent lies in um, basically who takes the action. Let me expand this so that you can see this in clearly. Who performs the action? Now, in AI assistant, suppose you go to ChatGPT, you ask it to basically write a code for you, write Python code for you. Then what you will do is you will take that code and you will run it in your system, right? Now, here you are the one who is taking action. So in AI assistant, so ChatGPT, you can consider ChatGPT as a AI assistant, but ChatGPT also has some AI agent capabilities. Why? Because if you guys have used ChatGPT's Canvas feature, then Canvas feature allow you to basically ask ChatGPT to write and create a whole website, and you can even preview it. Now, in that case, ChatGPT is acting as a agent. Okay, so now ChatGPT can act as a AI assistant and AI agent, and main difference lies in who performs the action. When ChatGPT itself is performing the action, in that case it is acting as a agent, whereas when you are performing the action, it is acting as a assistant. I feel that would be it for this particular section, because there are a lot of other things as well which I have written here, but I feel you can read those further, and you can ask any questions that you might have in maybe Q&A or in office hours. Now let's cover the second section, which is designing effective agents. Now, after the first section, we said that you should be able to answer one question, which is, what is the difference between AI agents and AI workflow? What is the question between, what is the question for the section 2? For the section 2, you should be effectively write down 3 principles which are very important for designing effective agents. And let's cover them one by one. One second. Okay. So here, I'll not cover this. Okay. Okay. So here we are talking about importance of agent design, core principles, and crafting effective tasks. So this whole thing is basically under the purview of designing effective agents. First point is, what is the importance of agent design? And here we are covering the concept of 80-20 rule, which is 80% of effort should go into designing tasks and 20% into defining agents. Design is more important because you need to think through before creating the actual agent. And then we talk about the core principles, like this particular concept is very important, which is each agent should have clearly defined role, goal, and backstory, and it will help you here as well when I will be covering the CrewAI framework. But yeah, so this basically uniquely identifies one agent. its role, its goal, and its backstory. And then we have something known as specialist versus generalist. And always it is recommended that we should go for focused agents to deliver precise outputs rather than generalist. So one example of generalist would be if you want to create a marketing analyst and also give him the capability of generating images, right? Now we are confusing the agent. We are telling the agent that, hey, you have to analyze marketing trends and also you have to generate images. Now we are going for generalist. We don't recommend that. We recommend a specialist agent. Then we have balancing specialization versus versatility, and agents should complement each other. And this point is basically, this point has to do with how different agents would contribute, and that's the core feature of the CrewAI framework. Okay. Okay. So at this point, we now know importance of agent design. We now know the core principles, and we now know crafting, how to craft effective tasks. And what are tasks? We will cover that when I'm going to come to the CrewAI part. Okay. Now let's switch gear and let me first of all demo something. Okay. I've created something which I want to quickly demo first, and then we will cover the nitty gritties of that step by step. And then I will refer to this map also, because I figured that it would make more sense to first of all show you the demo of the marketing analyst agent, and then go over the CrewAI things later when we cover the code of marketing research analyst. Okay, so now what I'm about to do might feel scary for someone who has not used Python or command line, but don't worry about it. Again, the same thing applies which I introduced in the beginning of the session, that here also I'm talking about the abstraction piece. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to, in my step one, I want to activate something known as virtual environment. Now, why virtual environments are necessary? Because it helps us isolate our environment from the existing Python installation. Nothing more than that. And if I do that, now what I have done is I have activated my environment, and what I can do is I can now run my agent. My agent is basically defined here in this Python script, which is named as marketing research agent. Okay. So what I can do is to run this, I can simply do Python market research agent. And if I run it, I just need to enter it. It will spin up the agent orchestration. We will look at the exact code, but let's look at how this runs and proceeds. While it is doing that, because it is also setting up some things in the backend. Okay, so you see there are a lot of things started happening, like crew execution started, and then there is this thing called crew, and there is this thing called task. We will cover what are these things in a moment. Now my agent is thinking, okay, so now something is happening. Okay, so now it is saying using the search tool. So it is using something known as search functionality, and this search functionality is a tool. Let's move forward. Okay, so again it is using some sort of searching capability, and once it is done with all of this, it will prepare a report, and that report will go inside a, so basically it will write a blog post on the latest marketing latest sorry, I think uh, I misspelled it. What it will do is it will write a blog post on latest trends in AI. Now what you can do is you can tweak it to not only generate those insights for only AI, but other topics as well. We will look at that when we cover the code of the marketing research agent. Okay, I think at this point, I feel, let me now, one second, let me, okay. Yeah, so this is completed. Now what we can do is we can open this new post. So this new post has been written, and you can clearly see it has been written just now. And if I open this new post, it will be a markdown. And let me do one thing. Let me preview it. 1 second. Okay, so let me preview it. All right. So now what it has done is the AI revolution of 2023 trends transforming industries. So what it has done is it has done some sort of brief analysis. How it has done is it has used some sort of tools, some concepts that we are discussing at this point. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll open the code and I'll go over some of the fundamentals which we discuss here. Okay, so I'll cover this mind map and the code simultaneously so that I can refer back to the code, the exact piece of code and the exact piece of theory here. Okay, so let's open this standalone script. So before I cover anything, what I want to do is, okay, let me first of all hide this because it holds my keys, the Serper API key and OpenAI API key. Okay, so now what I want to do is before I cover anything, I want to talk about this piece, which is practical implementation in CrewAI. This is going to just take 1 minute of my time. Now, in CrewAI, you can create entire team of agents using two different methods. First is you can create what we call as CrewAI project. Now, for that, you can use a command line argument. I will see if I can cover this as well. But this CrewAI project is a very complicated thing. In this, what we have is we have the entire Python project set up by the CrewAI framework, and we can edit those files, those Python files, to customize for our need. What we will do is we will try to create the agent using standalone Python scripts. And when I say standalone Python scripts, the script that you see here, it is a standalone Python script which defines the entire crew. It is wrong to call this Python script a agent, but rather a crew. Okay, because crew is basically a collection of agent. That's how we define crew. It's just like how we have a crew in ship. Ship has a crew which has multiple team members. Okay, so let's now start covering the CrewAI. What is CrewAI? So CrewAI is a Python framework, which everyone must be knowing, obviously, for creating autonomous AI agents. Now here, autonomous AI is very important because you would have used LangChain. I hope you must have heard of this term called LangChain. LangChain allow you to create what we call as workflows, which we defined here. Okay, workflows. Now, those workflows you can create with LangChain as well. And in fact, now LangChain supports creating agents too. But that's another story. When LangChain come, it only supported creation of workflows. So what we have to remember is CrewAI allow us to prepare AI agent, team of AI agents which are autonomous. And the thing about framework is that we don't have to think about how the internal planning happens. Okay, otherwise think about it. If you create agent from scratch using uh, let's say mm, scratch using just API calls, you will have to think about how you will implement the planning thing. Okay, that planning is done automatically out of the box using CrewAI. Okay, so what happens is, so CrewAI is basically a framework for creating autonomous AI agents, teams, and structured event-driven workflows. Okay, now let's cover CrewAI components. Now there are 4 components that CrewAI offers. First one is AI agents. Second one is process. Although process, I think I should move to last because process is not that important. Why? Although it is important, but at this point for you guys, process is not important. Why? Because process is covered internally by CrewAI itself. So we don't need to think about it. We need to think about agents, crew, and task. And all of these three things are clearly defined here, but let me cover them briefly. Agents have a specific role. Okay, so for example, I can have a image generator agent. I can have a video generator agent. I can have an agent which writes some poetry. Okay, so those are agents. So basically specialized team members with specific roles, goals, and tools. And if I expand this, you will see that each agent must have these four things: role, what it is supposed to do, goal, what it is again supposed to do, role clearly defines it, and goal basically tells what AI agent needs to do, and backstory. So backstory, you can think of backstory as a context. Suppose I have an image generator and I want the image generator to only generate image of cartoon. Then I can give the agent the backstory of that you only have to generate cartoon images. Okay, then we have tools, and this is very important. Tools uses allow the agent to call external capabilities. Let's close out this now. Crew. Now, crew, if I move a crew to down here, first let's define task. Now, each agent has some tasks. Okay, what image generator is supposed to do? Image generator is supposed to generate image, right? So tasks are individual assignments with clear objectives and specific goals. So if I expand this, now each task must have an associated agent, each task must have a description, and each task must have a output format. Suppose I have a image generation task. Okay, in that case, the agent will be image generator, description will be that to generate image, and output format could be, let's say, PNG or JPEG images. Okay, now once we define tasks and agents, we are ready to define a crew. Crew is a basically head, you can say, top level organization which manages two things: agents and tasks. And guess what? You don't need to do this planning thanks to CrewAI's internal process. Okay, so this process is managed automatically. What you need to do is you need to provide which LLM you want to use as a backend. You can use OpenAI, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity's model, or any other LLMs that you can think of. All of those LLMs are supported by CrewAI. You don't need to code the exact planning logic, because this is very complicated thing, and the exact algorithm is very complicated. So how do we define crew? Crew is basically list of agents and list of tasks. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so now let's cover these concepts one by one using Python code. Let me go to the Python code and let me expand this a little bit. Now, I will not cover these at this point. Uh, just bear with me. All of these things will start making sense. Let me first of all minimize all these codes to show you how easy it is to make agents here. So what we do is, in the first step, we define agents, and we are defining two different agents. First one is called researcher, second one is called writer. And let's go back to our mind map once and see how agents are defined. Agents are defined by role, goal, backstory, and tools. Let's go to code now. And let's expand researcher. Now, those of you who are not familiar with Python, don't worry about it. Anyway, most of your codes are going to be written by LLMs, right? So don't worry about those things. Understand that we are calling something known as agent. Now this agent is provided by what? CrewAI. And how do we get this CrewAI? We do it, we install it using something known as pip install CrewAI. Once we install CrewAI, we get these things for free: agent, task, and crew. So what we do is we provide in agent some things. And what are those things? Which we just covered: role, goal, backstory, and tools. Don't worry about this for now. I'll cover this. What is role? I am saying that your role is market research analyst. Now, what is the goal? Provide up-to-date market analysis of AI industry. What is the backstory? An expert analyst with a keen eye for market trends. Okay. Now, what are the tools you have? What do you think? What should be the tools that this researcher should have? Since it has to provide us the up-to-date market analysis, it should be having website research, right? So we are providing it a search tool. Now, how do we get the search tool? We will cover that later. So this is how we define researcher. Okay. Now let's see how do we define writer. We define the role, we define the goal, we define the backstory. Now writer must have what? A place to save the writings, right? So that's why we provide a file tool and docs tool. Okay. So intuitively, if you, without understanding these, if you look at these tools, let's cover them one by one. We have got docs tool. How do I get directory tool? Again, there is a package called CrewAI tools. This is provided again by CrewAI. We call the directory read tool, and this tool allow us to basically uh, provide LLMs, provide this, not LLM, sorry, provide the agent with these tools. Now, notice here, if any of you have gone to write down the this workflow using LangChain or using any other frameworks or even from scratch, you know that it is very difficult to code these things, like uh, when to call which tool, when to call which exact tool. So this is known as planning. This planning is done out of the box using CrewAI framework. Okay, so this is how we define agents. This is how we define tools. And in tools, we get these tools from CrewAI tools package. Again, this can be installed similarly um, as we install CrewAI. Okay. Here, I would like to cover one thing, which is Serper Dev Tool. Now, Serper Dev Tool is something that requires you to have a key. So Serper is a basically online service, which is a paid service, but you can acquire its keys for free. And once you have the key, you have to set it in the and basically in the environment, and this will allow you to basically tell CrewAI to look at these keys. And this is my OpenAI key. Now, if you let's say are if you want to use it with Gemini, let's say, you just need to, it's as simple as replacing this with Google API key. Although we have to set up different things as well. For example, in the website search tool, by default, it looks at OpenAI key, but then we need to customize it to look at Gemini API key. But it is very simple. Okay, so once we set keys, what happens is this server looks at those keys and uses it to do the searching and return the actual results. Now, you might be wondering, if Serper is the one who is doing the searching, what is this website search tool? Now, this website search tool basically integrates this Serper and does something known as RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And again, you don't need to worry about this for now, because we are just covering things at a very high level. Okay. So once we have these tools set up, what we need to do is we need to provide those tools to agents, which we have already done. And next task is what? We need to define the task. Task is what? Tasks are defined by three things. Tasks are defined by agent. So which agent is going to perform that task? So if I open the research task, we have a description, we have a expected output, and we have a agent. Okay, what is this? I think someone is trying to draw. Okay, so never mind. So now we have this description, we have this expected output, and we have this agent. Now guess what? In agent, what are we passing? We are passing this agent that we defined here. So research task is supposed to be done by research agent. And guess what? This research agent has these tools, search tool and web rag tool. So this task can be performed efficiently. Okay. Similarly, we have write task. Again, in the write task, we have description, expected output, and agent. But in the write task, we have also output file. And if you recall, the name by which this blog was saved was new post, and this is what our name is defined here. If I change the name here, let's say I do it new post 1, and simultaneously let me do one thing. Let me run this script again, and while it is running, let's continue, and once it is completed, we will just confirm if it is the case. Okay, so now this write task has been defined. Finally, if I go inside the map again, finally we need to define crew, and crew is defined by agents and tasks. Crew is defined by crew. We define a list of agents, we define a list of tasks, and we define this verbose is equal to true. And as this agent is running, you see this output is being printed, right? And when I do verbose is equal to true, this is what happens. And if I do verbose is equal to false, then and nothing will be printed in the command line. Only agent will do its task and nothing will be printed. And planning is equal to true. And this is the power and magic of uh, CrewAI. When I set planning is equal to true, I don't need to think about how the researcher will do the research task, writer will do the write task. It will be handled automatically and autonomously. Okay, and that's why the term AI agent. Okay, although at this point I want to clear one doubt here, which most of the new persons who start using CrewAI have. We define agents here as well, and we are also calling this whole thing agent. Technically, this entire script, what it does is it is not an agent. It defines a crew of agent. We define individual agent, and then we have crew agent. So crew is something bigger than agent. Crew basically manages kind of manager manages your employees. Uh, Crew manages its agents. Okay. So once we define the crew, the only thing that we need to do is run the crew. And we do it by calling a function called kickoff. Okay. So this completes our script, and this completes our discussion of CrewAI components. Okay. I hope it makes sense. Now, let me briefly cover some of the other aspects, and then we can move on to some of the maybe if I have time, I can also briefly cover the using CMD option. What I have just covered is standalone Python script, and if I open it, you will be able to basically understand this entire script in these 6 steps. So creating a agent in 6 steps. First, we import stuff. Then we set up keys, we set up agent, we set up task, we set up the crew. And that's what we did here, right? In the code. We set up agents, we set up task, we set up a crew, and we finally kick off. And kickoff is just a technical term for run. Okay. So we close out this, and then we have another way of creating a CrewAI system, which is known as CrewAI project. And we can again expand this and cover this, but at this point I think I need to quickly cover these flows and processes, and then I'll open the discussion for Q&A. Okay, all right. So what is process? And I have already covered process briefly before. Process is something which is defined internally by CrewAI. So basically it defines collaboration patterns, control task assignments, like which task is going to be done by which agent, and that is defined here clearly within our task definition. So this all things are defined by process, and this is internally achieved by CrewAI framework. So that was it for the entire crew components. Now at this point, what CrewAI does is it covers this entire thing at a very high level. And when I say high level, we don't have precise control. So okay, so if I expand this, when I pass this description, I don't have precise control over how exact things are passed between crews and between agents and tasks, how tasks are passed to agents and how agents interact between among each other. Okay, so those things are controlled internally by CrewAI itself, and that is achieved by the process which we covered. If you need precise control, that's where flow comes in. Flow is basically another framework, and it is much more like LangChain. And I would say just like LangChain, but with some more advantages. What it does is it provides you a granular, event driven control and structured automation over workflow and AI agent automation. Okay, so we have something known as flow management, events, states, and if I have to briefly cover these concepts, then flow management and events, as the name suggests, triggers the workflow or the agent action based on the responses or based on certain things that we define. And then we have states, which is passing the data. Here, if you see, research is being done by researcher, and then this research report is passed to the writer. Okay, and then the writer writes the blog post. So how is this data transfer is happening? That is that we can control in using states if we design the agents using flow. Okay. So now there is this discussion of when to use cruise versus flow, although there are a lot of things to basically cover here, but the only major thing that we need to remember while answering this question is that when we need granular, finer control over our processes, then we need to go for flow. But if we have a simpler task, if we want to create a simple agent kind of thing, then in that case, we can simply go for crew. And in fact, I have been using crew for more than 1 year, and I have delivered production level applications using just crew without having to use flows. But there are clients that I have worked with who prefer flows, and the clients who prefer flows are those clients which have been using LangChain in their existing framework. Those are the clients which are basically uh, which want to go for flow more often than crew. Okay, so I think at this point we have covered most of the stuff that I wanted to cover, except this piece, which is how do we create a crew project from scratch using command line. And if we have time, Yubukun, then we can cover it. Do we have time? Can we cover this piece also?
Yeah, sure. Depends on how long you're going to take to do that.
Oh, okay, it won't take much long, but the only thing is it will take. Let me see if I have that image ready. Yeah, so I have that image. So I think I can cover it in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So I think this looks scary, and it is scary because most of the stuff you can cover. Most of the interesting things you can do with standalone Python script as an agent, or rather, I should define it clearly as crew. Okay, most of the interesting things you can do by utilizing standalone Python script. But then there are some cases where you might need to basically uh, go for a CrewAI project, and this happens mostly in industry. Okay, before creating this CrewAI project, I would like to show you. Uh, I would like to basically demo this project creation using something known as Gemini, not with OpenAI key. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is I'll go to command line and let's look at the output. We can clearly see. I hope you remember this. We changed the output name, and it's clearly saving it as a new post one. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how to create a CrewAI project from scratch. So first of all, let me see what are the things that are there in my directory. I'll probably create a new directory called demo, and within this directory, now there are two steps. First of all, to install CrewAI and UV. Now, UV is an alternative to pip, which is used by CrewAI and recommended by CrewAI. So if you go to the documentation of CrewAI, it will recommend UV as the dependency management tool rather than pip. So what we need to do is we need to create a virtual environment. We need to install this UV tool. And then once we have this UV tool installed, using UV tool, we can install UV. We can install CrewAI framework, CrewAI command line argument. Okay. So once we have this CrewAI argument ready, what I can do is I can run it. Like if I basically type CrewAI and enter, it will show me the options of what are the things that I can do with it. Okay. So in the next step, we can create project using a scaffolding project. And the way we do it is by running this command, which is CrewAI create crew. And now we in place of crew, we can also create a flow. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll do CrewAI create, and I want to create a crew, not a flow. For flow, I would have used flow. And for now, I will just use demo agent or maybe demo crew. Okay, so now if I run this, it will ask me something, and it will ask me for the LLM provider, which LLM provider I want to use. And notice here, it is basically asking me for bunch of options. It is providing me bunch of options, and even Grok is one of them. What I can do is I want to show you this with Gemini. So I'll type 3, and if I hit enter, it will ask me which Gemini model you want to use. Let's go for 1. And now it is asking me for Gemini API key. And the reason for showing you this demo with Gemini is that acquiring Gemini key is very easy. You need to just go to AI Studio, aistudio.google.com. And if you have a Google account, Gmail account, that should work. Just click on this get API key. And if you haven't created already, you can create API key and just select any project. Don't worry about adding any credit card and all. In OpenAI, you need to add credit card, but here you don't need to do it. Create API key. And once I have a API key ready, it will be printed. I'll copy it. And now I will go to command prompt where it is asking me for the API key. I'll just paste it. And if I hit run, you see it has created the API key, right? Now, once we have the project ready, if I go back to my map, and if I open the project structure, this is how my project is going to look like. Okay. Now there are ways to run it, but before I run it, what I want to show you is I want to show you the .env file first. So let's do one thing. Let's go to command prompt and let me clear this first. After clearing this, I want to basically go inside my project. So demo crew was the name of the project. This directory is just got created. And if I see the directory structure, it is just like the directory structure which I was showing you here. We have .env, we have readme file, and I want to see this .env file. Let's look at this. Let's open Visual Studio Code or any code editor that you have, or you could have opened this with any text file. So we in this .env file, we have this model and Gemini API key, right? Now you could have customized it manually as well. While when command prompt is asking you for the input, you could have just skipped that and entered these manually. More important to this .env file is the source structure. Now in source, we have bunch of files and main run. Okay, so when we were defining the agent, we were using this file for doing all the things like defining agent, defining task and crew and running and all those things. But here, different things are done by different files, and agents and tasks are defined here. in this YAML file. So we have this agents.yaml file, and we have this tasks.yaml file. The same thing which we had here are just written in this YAML format. And if you guys don't know YAML is just like JSON, which lets you write down configurations in a structured manner. Okay, so we have this config folder which defines agents and YAML. Now what we can do is we can go inside crew.py, and this crew defines agents like this, and it is much more involved code than what we had earlier. So we define agents using this agent decorator, we define task using this task decorator, and finally we define a crew using crew decorator. And to run this crew, we resort to this main.py file. Okay, I think that would be it. But just to close out things, how do we run this agent? We just do CrewAI run. That's it. And if I run it, what it will do is it will come to this main file and it will execute this code, this function, and it will take these inputs. And if I go inside the config agents, it will replace this topic. So basically what it will do is it will get this topic, it will replace this topic from the topic that we passed in the main, and it will demo crew.kickoff. It will call that same method that we called in our standalone script. I think that would be it from my side.
Yeah.
And I know. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
You know, no. Finish up.
And I know that in the closing 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I've covered a lot of details in a very quick manner. But as I mentioned in the beginning, these things, when you actually go inside and make your legs wet and actually start creating these things, it will become a lot easier.
Yep. So, hi everyone. Can everybody, is everybody still here? You know, drop on the chat. Yes, still here. Fantastic. So the idea behind agents is you have a specific identified task, right? So it could be marketing, it could be writing a blog, it could be writing, you know, a script for a movie, it could be writing anything, right? And what we want to do is we want to be able to break down the process and the steps it takes to be able to go from point A to point Z, right? So if you're doing marketing, you know, what are some of the steps? Can someone drop in the chat? What are some of the steps we need to take to be able to implement a marketing campaign? So let's say, for example, we want to create a marketing campaign. What are some of the steps we need to take to be able to implement a marketing campaign? We need to identify, you know, who our target audience is, right? We probably need to identify what our ICP is. And then from there, exactly, the audience, right? We need to identify all of these different, you need to know your niche, right? What are you focusing on? You know, you need to identify who your ideal customer profile is, right? Now, to do that, typically, if you had to do that today, what would you have to do? You have to go online and try to search and try to identify, you know, who is that ideal customer profile and things of that nature, right? But with agents, what we can now do is sort of break all of those different steps into actual tasks that the computer can actually help us accomplish. So if it's a sales agent, you know, what's the main objective of the sales agents? To probably help you connect with someone who can be a customer. If it's an AI agent for trading, someone says, I can make an AI agent to trade crypto. Well, good for you. That's great. But you know, what would be the agent be responsible for? The agent will be responsible for helping schedule or create trades, maybe based on first identifying what crypto trades he wants to go into and building it step by step, things of that nature. And so agents help us to be able to accomplish these different tasks. Now, Raul just broke down the code aspect of it. There's also the non-coding, you know, piece of it. And Raul, if you have your screen still up, I wanted you to share your screen real quick.
Okay, one second.
So there you go. I like that, the script.
Okay.
The actual script. Yeah. So if you're creating an agent, the agent is responsible to go do a specific task, right? So you create the agent. So you have the writer, or that's, the specific block that is sort of focused on what's the role of the agent, what's the goal of the agent, what's the backstory behind the agent, and things of that nature, right? What tools are you going to use to be able to generate, outputs and things of that nature from the agent. Then you have defined task, right? In this case, can someone tell me what the defined task is in this case? You can see what the defined task is right there. Would it be able to do some TA? So can someone tell me what this agent's task is? To research what? The latest trends in the AI industry and provide a summary, right? So it does the research, and the expected output is what? A summary of top 3 trending developments in the AI industry with unique perspective on it. So you have what it's defined, to do. And then when it does the research, then it needs to write whatever it does as an output, right? So we see 48 to 52 covers. How does it actually do that writing? Now, all of this is done via code, which is, fairly easy, to do, because basically what you're doing is just sort of setting it up in blocks, defining the task, determining what it is it's supposed to do, and then having it basically generate the output. So when it generates the output, who can tell me what the output file of this agent would be? What would be the file that it would generate in? For the coders in the room, what would we generate as? And Raul, don't say it. There you go. Markdown file. Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, Markdown file. Yeah, I understand that there are people in the house that do not know how to code. It's totally fine. You don't need to know how to code. Just listen in, understand what it is that you're saying. Sometimes, you just paying attention to this actually helps you get familiar with the non-coding aspect of it. So don't take this lightly still because you don't know how to code. Just listen in. You don't have to get everything right. And hey, by the way, guys, you don't have to get everything all in one sitting. This is going to be, we're going to have another session here I believe next week, right? So it's going to cover non-coding piece of this as well. So this is not going to be just, the coding piece, just, assimilate and understand that a lot of things are going to come to you all at once. It might appear a little bit like, oh man, what's going on and stuff like that. Just follow through. And as you follow through, you start gaining clarity and clarity and clarity. I can see some people are understanding. There are some people that are going to start understanding as things move along. So don't be in a rush. There'll be office hours where you can actually get help, and someone can say, okay, break things down to you and all that kind of stuff. So don't worry, just relax. Don't be in a rush. Gain what you can gain. If there are questions that you have, write those questions down so that we can actually answer them. And so we see the agent has a write task, and in the write task is saying, hey, what I want you to do is write an engaging blog post about an AI industry based on the research summary, this. A 4 paragraph. So you're giving it exactly what it is that you want the writer to do. What's the role of that, the agent doing that task? The agent is the writer. The agent is responsible for writing the response to the research task that was above in a markdown file, period. Right? And so you put all of those things together and assemble them together under that 54, 55 to 61. And basically you have the agent that uses the research and the writer to be able to perform whatever task. So essentially what we're trying to do is basically understand what it is that we want the agent to do and then break it down into those steps. So what I would say you should do right now, everybody just pick anything that you're currently thinking about. Like you might be a social, I know there was someone who was into social, into the social, sociology or something like that. There are other people that are in HR that might be here. There are other people that are in computer science. I want you to drop in the chat, pick a task. Pick a task. That might be, what's it called? An agent that creates something for your specific industry. The first step is create the steps. So let me share my screen here. Allow me share my screen. So let's share my screen here. All right. So let's say, for example, I want to create an agent that would help me connect with people on LinkedIn, right? So first step, right, is to identify where am I going to get the contacts, right? Next step is to do what? What is the message that I'm going to send to these contacts, right? Then I actually have to send the message to the contacts. Send message to the contacts. And then I have to wait, right? And then I get a response. And when I do get a response, I might actually want an AI to respond, right, to this. I might actually want an AI to respond to this. So this is my process, right? I get the content, the contacts. Where is the contact going to come from? This contact might come from Seamless AI. Seamless AI is a very good platform. This is where I get all my contacts from, right? So I get my contact from Seamless AI, right? The contacts, once I get the contact, I send them the message. Before I get the contact, I might want to create a filter to filter out these contacts, right? So in front of this would be a filter, right? So I might filter, get the content, get the message, send the message, things of that nature. So I see someone is trying to ask a question. You can drop your questions in the chat. Oh, you can't see my screen. Do you guys see what I'm drawing? Does everyone see what I'm drawing?
I can see it.
Okay. All right. Okay, just making sure. So it's visible. Oh, it's visible from your end. Okay. So some people, you have to click my whiteboard, so you'll be able to see it. Okay. So essentially, you identify what it is that you're trying to do, and then you break those things down into tasks. If that is clear, drop it in the chat. This is clear. What I want you to go and do when you get very clear, fantastic, very clear, fantastic. So what I want you to do is go on FlowWise. For those that don't know how to, you've never used AI agents before. Raul was talking about FlowWise. Go on FlowWise right now and set up an account. Yeah, Raul, do you have the link to the Xmind?
Yes, I do. I can drop it in chat. 1 second.
Yeah. So with FlowWise, you can create 2 flows. So I want everyone on the chat to go in, set up a FlowWise account. And the beautiful thing about FlowWise is it allows you to be able to implement multi-agents, via drag and drop, right? And you can basically say, okay, it is free for 2 flows. It is free for 2 flows. So when you go and use FlowWise, you will have issues. I'm telling you right now, you are going to have issues. Okay, you are going to have issues with it. You're not going to get it all, good all at once, right? But that's the beautiful thing about this is you get to practice, and if you have any issues or any problems, we get to walk through, those issues with you. So, set up FlowWise. On the next class, we're going to cover a no coding piece. And for those who know how to write code, set up CrewAI. If you have any issues, we'll be available to attend to your questions. So I'm going to take 2 questions, and then I'm going to have Raul answer the questions, and then we're going to wrap things up. How can we access the Xmind? Raul, are you sharing that? I think
I just shared. Can we pin this message for everyone somehow? I just shared it. The mind map and with the password.
fantastic. Someone asked, Raul, someone's asking, what backend can we use for this AI? Django?
For this question, I would like to probably ask another question, that what do you mean by backend here? Like, are you talking about the uh, like production, or setting up this agent in some sort of web app, something of that sort? Can you elaborate here? Hosted. Yeah, we can host these as normal websites. So the way it will look is, so for example, you can spin up, if you know something about, if you are asking these technical question, I'll respond in a little bit technical manner. So what you can do is, you can spin up a Flask server, or Django server, or even a server in JavaScript, and let user of your application enter any, maybe a topic, and if they hit enter, then in the backend your agent is going to spin up and do all those things that was happening in my command prompt. Yes, the Xmind will work on phone and laptop, but I would advise that if you look it up, look the mind map on your laptop, it would be easier to navigate, because on phone, it's, since screen is very small, it becomes hard to navigate on the screen. Yes, Flask is great. Anything else? What about the front end? Yeah, so front end, I just covered the front end piece. So what we can do is, we can spin up one application, one Flask server, where what you saw in the session, which was running in the command prompt, it will happen in the backend in the Flask server, and you can host it on any provider of your choice. Maybe if you want to go for cloud, or maybe something else, you can spin up, and front end you can easily set up. Not a big deal.
Also, I would let me share some resources. And Ibukun, please, you're going to probably help me share this out as well. For those who are looking to do a lot of this CrewAI agentic stuff. So the best resource that I've found, and Raul would agree with me on this, is, let me send this. And then Ibukun, please let me put this also in the WhatsApp chat so that everybody.
All right.
How would the agents be? Okay. How would the agent be accessed? Raul, you want to answer that? Okay, I think he's on mute. Raul, you're mute, by the way.
Okay, yeah, so I was speaking while on mute. Okay, so if I understood your question properly, then by accessing, you mean that how are we going to use it, right? So there are a couple of ways to use our agents. One is obviously the way I demonstrated in the session, in the command prompt on our laptop, but that looks very scary for most of us. So what we could do is, which I also covered, that we could deploy this agent on some sort of web application, phone application, and we can use it from there. And we can also share it with others so that they can also use it. But that's a topic of another discussion, I think, how exactly we will be doing that. No, it's not a must to use CrewAI, but let me tell you, like I have been using LangChain and LangGraph. CrewAI does work better in some, not better. I'm not saying it's better, but it's just a matter of preference, I would say. I've been more exposed to, I would say, CrewAI than LangGraph. LangChain I have been using a lot, but I have stopped using it because LangChain has some limitations because they impose certain things on you, and I feel that's not quite right. And even you could argue that CrewAI also imposing things on you. But I think yeah, that's something we can probably go over in another session. Yeah,
Absolutely.
LangGraph you can use. LangGraph is good.
Is it possible for us to have an end-to-end agent creating class? Very important. Yes. Yeah. So again, this first session is to sort of get everyone familiar with agentic and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have quite a number of other folks also join. And so getting familiar, getting understanding of it, like you are having this is our first test class actually towards helping to streamline things around agentic and things of that nature. So you are having the first you're having the first experience of us taking this out and making this public. So there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to sharing with you and covering and things of that nature. And for the purpose of the hackathon, it doesn't have to be CrewAI. It could be CrewAI, it could be LangChain, like Raul was saying, that's just his personal preference. And for those that don't have coding experience, flow-wise, start playing around with it. We are going to have another session. As a matter of fact, Ibukun, let's plan another session for next week where we actually cover, for non-coding environment as well. We're also going to cover vibe code as well. So vibe code is just specifically for developers. So if you're not a developer, that might not be, the class for you. But if you're, into development and you want to basically augment your development by doing vibe coding and then augmenting that, we would be doing that for everyone who is willing as well, because we're actually looking for people that can balance development alongside with the ability to do vibe. So that way you can actually get, bang for a buck, meaning, you can actually get to do a lot more. You can get to fix issues. You can get to, and then integrating that with Cursor and things of that nature. And so the goal is, you saw the breakdown. Raul showed the mind map, where you see like, okay, this is what creating an agent entails, and now you can take that knowledge and say, okay, what agent do I want to create? I want to create a sales agent. What are the steps? Start breaking out those processes. When you're done breaking down those processes, then ask, okay, how does this fit into my Python code? Or how does this fit into the structure that was described? And if you have any issues, then say, then you text on the group chat and say, I'm having some challenges with this, and then we can actually jump in and see how we can help by helping people in groups. So we might set it up where we have a group of 20 each. If you need some help, you can actually ask, further questions, or during the next session, you get to actually benefit from that. I hope that helps. So I hope this foundational thing was very helpful for you. I hope it helped. So if it helped you, I want you to put it on the chat. Say yes, yes, yes. Just want to get. Fantastic. So someone said no. I know you probably Umfom is SEMA. You know, yeah. If you have any questions for those that didn't answer my question. Okay, Umfom, can you please ask your question again? What exactly is your question? Yes, a bit technical. That makes sense. Don't worry. For the non-technicals, I told you, don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. Just follow through. You don't necessarily have to get everything all at once. Umfom, I'm waiting for your question.
I feel Ofum has asked a question in Q&A, Yanu. I feel that is what he is referring to probably.
Oh, what was the
Can you look? Yeah, I think let me read that up. Are
question?
there
Okay.
resources that will guide and help me as a data analyst?
Okay.
That's his
So,
question.
okay. Okay. So, okay. So we're covering agentic in this specific class. If you do need resources that would guide you as a data analyst, I would share a list of resources with Anu on data science, data analysis specifically, so that is he asked if it supports as a data. I'm very confused. Anu, can you help me with this question? I'm not sure if I'm getting the question correctly. Anu, are you there?
I could find his question in chat as well. Does this relate to data analysis? He's asking this question.
Of course it does. Like, as if building agents relates to, of course it does, right? Because think about it, right? What does data analysis entail? Right? What does data analysis entail? It entails cleaning your data, removing missing elements of your data, or collapsing things so that things are much cleaner. It might include filling empty spaces within the context of your data with additional data, right? So all of that goes into creating of course, you can basically create a task out of that and have an AI agent that actually takes care of that stuff, right? So the job of a data analysis, a data analyst can be, especially if it's something you do in a repetitive manner, can actually be run by an agent. So you're cleaning the data, you're just making sure everything looks pretty good. Now, not just that, if you also wanted to analyze the data, or if you wanted to visualize the data, right? So you've cleaned your data, everything looks good, you've removed all the empty spaces and things of that nature. You want to feed that information into something where you can actually see it visually. Of course, you can actually then take that data and say, okay, this is how I want to position it from a visual standpoint. Umfom, did I answer your question? I want to make sure you're good with that answer. Umfom. Yeah, absolutely. 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 Because guess what? If you don't if you don't do it, then AI agents will start doing your job, right? So fantastic. All right. I won't take too much time here. We're gonna set up another no worries. We're gonna set up another time for next week. And the team is going to coordinate that. Thanks again, Raul, for covering. Please enjoy this session. Thanks, Raul and Yano. It was a good intro. Absolutely, you're welcome. Please, what about the agent for geospatial data analysis? Okay, Rahul, can we make the GitHub for the code that we shared in the class available on
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
make
we
that
can.
so people can take a look at it and play around with it, and as a matter of fact, you can test it on your system for developers. Yeah, it works for web, it works for app as well. How can these AI agents help advance in the healthcare sector? Well, you want to identify a problem within the healthcare sector, and then you want to figure out how the AI agent can then be used to do each of those individually. So for example, for people that want to learn how this can actually help for, for the hackathon, right? If you're just curious, right? So it's one thing for you to have, a system that maybe helps you with, maybe someone has breast cancer, you want to be able to put in the image of the MRI or whatever the X-ray is, and you want to be able to detect whether this person has breast cancer or this person doesn't have breast cancer, or someone has some other, issues and things of that nature, right? That's one thing. But imagine if you're able to have an automated system where you can basically check the person, for this specific disease based on a specific symptom. You can then move to the next one. The agent checks another specific disease and then does a correlation to see how does this relate with this, or how does this relate with the other, right? So there are a lot of ways that, using AI agent can actually help the healthcare sector, but it's all about identifying the problem and then sort of running it backwards to say, okay, how do I then implement a process that would actually help me accomplish that? I hope that makes sense. Yes, the AI agent can actually be used as a chatbot. Raul, do you want to speak to that? Raul, are you there? Someone is asking.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Yes, asking, can the AI agent be used like a chatbot?
Yes, of course. Why not? And in fact, chatbot is one of its, I would say, earliest application,
Yes.
where it has been used successfully, right? If you must be using ChatGPT, and I covered it in the session itself that ChatGPT can be used in two different ways. One is as a AI assistant where you get some answers and you take action. You take action. ChatGPT does not take action there. And then ChatGPT can be used as a AI agent as well, where ChatGPT takes actions on your behalf. For example, in Canvas option, you give it instruction to create a web app, and it will create you a web app, and you can preview it within the chatbot, within the ChatGPT. So yes, your question to the answer to the question is yes. AI agent can be used like a chatbot.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything is an automation workflow. So I encourage people to start learning anything and getting familiar with anything for sure. Oh yeah, about improving diets with AI. So now it's going to be agentic diet. Exactly. You get the point. You get the point. Raul, you want to take the 337 question? Someone is asking.
One second. For this project or challenge, are we allowed to use which challenge? I didn't get. Okay, hackathon.
In case I have my LLM locally, can I use it with CrewAI?
Yeah, okay, that's a very intelligent question. So whoever asked it, so this question basically relates to how you connect the LLM that is hosted on your laptop and use that LLM as a backbone of the CrewAI. Yes, it's possible. And in fact, I faced this issue with my code, but to enable that, you will need to create a custom connector, and that is a little bit challenging. Although I would not say it's impossible, but it can be done using a dedicated connector. And yeah, so that's the answer to the question, and it's a very good question actually.
Yeah. So that's it says, for the project or challenge, are we allowed to use no code, low code platforms like anything, or is it? Yeah, you're allowed to use no code, low code, no code platforms. It's really about the complexity of the work that you're doing, right? What problem are you trying to solve? And how effective is your solution to solving that problem? So you don't want to just think on the surface. If you want to really solve, problem, you want the problem to be really, really, you want it to be a really, really good problem. So make sure you find a really great problem, with very, strong, strong foundation, as to why you chose the problem, and basically the structure as to how you're going to solve the problem. and whatever you choose to use, anything, no code, low code, you know, perfectly fine. I mean, if you can use Python, would be great. If you can use Python, would be great, because for anyone who uses no code, low code, then essentially you have to be pretty good with Anything or one of those, so that just in case if you win, then you're going to be more on the automation side, and stuff like that. So yeah, as in someone talked about roads. Yes, you can use AI to fix roads, but AI is not going to be the one that would fix the road on your behalf, because unless you want to have robots that you want to have robotic engines that are speaking to AI agents and are programmed to do specific actions, on the robots, right? So that then you can start fixing the road physically, but we're still far away from being able to do that. But for example, taking a picture, of like the road, and then sending that picture to a system, and then having that system. For example, that's a good project, for example, right? Where you actually have an agent that actually takes the picture of a specific road. It sends that picture to the back end, and then basically based on the backend is able to say, like, here's the location, here's the thing that needs to be done to be able to fix the project, to fix the road, and here are the recommendations for maybe the folks that are doing the road maintenance on
It's
how
a
to.
wonderful project. Yes, I agree.
That's a very,
It's a
very
wonderful, yeah. So we can set up some sort of automated camera mechanism which sample the images from road, and automatically, if it finds a defect or default, it sends it in the backend.
exactly. So so great questions, everybody. How would the agents be graded during the hackathon? We'll walk you guys through that. Again, it's going to be graded based on complexity of the work. So the more complex work you're able to do, the more thought you put into your project, the more the higher chance that that you win, because you're picking the project, but then also you're putting some effort into getting it done. So can you still join the hackathon? Yeah, so the hackathon starts on the 15th of August. But before then, we're going to have different sessions. So just don't worry, keep plugging in, keep, joining the sessions, and you keep getting insights as you move along. Anyway, it looks like we've got all the questions answered. That means such agents that help with road construction would need to be consistently provided with real-time data. Well, yes, but for the purpose of maybe a competition, whatever the case may be, you can just have streams of images, right? Like different images, and then you feed that image into the system, and then create a program out of that. So if you want to do real time, to even perfect, even better. So can agentic AI be used in incident reporting? Absolutely. I'm glad you guys are thinking about this. And to be honest, like I would suggest you start to play around and practice some of this, so that when it's time for the competition, you can actually be sort of better prepared and all that kind of stuff. He says the Python code hasn't been shared yet. Yes, it will be shared with you. Don't worry about it. It's going to be shared on the chat. Just join the WhatsApp group and you would get it. All right. So lots of questions on the chat. I like the fact that you guys are going after it. I'm super proud. I have to say, I'm super proud of everyone who is on this call, because you've taken your first step in, creating financial freedom for your families, for generations to come, right? So make sure you're plugging in. Make sure you're doing the best that you possibly can. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. We care about what you're doing. Is not just about the competition. It's really about you gaining experience and you becoming marketable all across the world. I'll suggest you join the WhatsApp group, and Ibukun, if we can try to get another schedule in place for the next one. That's probably going to be next Monday, so that we can get things going here. and continue to build. So be encouraged. If you didn't understand a few things because you don't know how to code, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'd be absolutely fine. We'll share videos. When you do anything, when you do any exercise, put it in the chat. I want to see people put in what they're doing in the chat. Like create some automation with FlowEyes, drop it in the chat. Create something with N8N. Do a video recording, drop it in the chat. Like we are paying attention to all of that. We're paying attention to all of that. All of that goes towards the walkathon, by the way. All of those go towards the walkathon. So don't just start expecting walkathon. Like you can actually start doing, posting, learning, growing, and all that kind of stuff. So thanks everybody. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.